This is TY back with a live. And today I wanted to talk about Michel Rivera and Frank Martin. I wanted to talk about that. Um, First off, man, I want to say shout out to the whole entire LDBC. Much love and much appreciation. Yeah, but let's get to it. Let's talk about last night between Michel Rivera and Frank Martin. Um, First off, I want to say congratulations to Frank Martin on a brilliant performance last night. I also want to congratulate Coach Derek James on a brilliant, also trainer of the year. He trained Jamel Charlo to be um, undisputed at 154 pounds, and then he also trained Errol Spence Jr. to defeat Udenis Ugas to get his third belt. And now he has trained Frank Martin to defeat Michel Rivera in a decision last night, in a 12-round decision. So let's get to it. First off, man, Frank Martin looked good, man. I predicted that this was going to happen. You can check my video and see it. I said that Frank Martin was going to win by decision. I just had a feeling that he was going to win by decision. But Frank Martin boxed beautifully last night. In the first round, it was a filling out, but towards the middle and the late and later on in the round, in the first round, Frank Martin was throwing beautiful combinations, and he was especially throwing that left straight to the body of Michel Rivera. And then in the second round, that was like the only time I really seen like Rivera like catch Frank Martin like with a shot. It was like he threw like the left, but then he caught him with the right straight. Caught Martin with the right straight, but then in the second round, but then after that, it was just like it was all Frank Martin after that. It just seemed like the only game plan that Michel Rivera's team had was to try to outbox Frank Martin, to use his reach and to use his jab to try to neutralize Frank Martin, basically. But it was really the other way around. Frank Martin did a beautiful job, first of all, of neutralizing Michel Rivera's jab. Michel Rivera was, it seemed like there was times where he was just throwing it out there, but he was getting countered. He was getting countered, and he was also dipping his head low to where he was getting caught with shots like left hooks and left uppercuts. And then I think it was in the seventh round where Frank Martin scored the knockdown with that I think it was like a left hook or something like that, where he caught him with and knocked him down for the first or the second time in Michel Rivera's career. So it was a beautiful shot. But all night, Frank Martin was just doing a beautiful job of throwing combinations. He was doing a good job of doing, if Michel Rivera would try to throw something, then Frank Martin would throw 1, 2, 3, or sometimes he would do 1, 2, 3, 4. He was just hitting him with shots, and there was nothing Michel Rivera could do. He was hitting him he was getting him up on the ropes at points, and and then Michel Rivera's team didn't really do a good job as far as they were telling him, like, just continue boxing, continue just sticking with your jab, and that was it. But there was no adjustments made at whatsoever. Towards the middle and later rounds of the fight. They basically was like, okay, this is a fight now. You basically need to go in there and just fight. And then once it got to the later rounds, they said, okay, you need to just go for the knockout. But you could tell that Michel Rivera was very hesitant on trying to throw anything crazy because he knew that he could get countered. Like I said, there was times where Michel would dip his head to like the right side to where Frank Martin could just catch him like with a left uppercut or a left hook. And he was catching him with that all fight long. And it was just bad. Michel Rivera didn't make no adjustments whatsoever. He was just getting caught with the same shots. And like I said, his team didn't do a very good job of making adjustments either. They didn't have no plan whatsoever. And Derek James did a wonderful job as far as, telling, Frank Martin to, make sure you're not just, standing there, make sure you're moving around. And that's another thing that Frank Martin did a wonderful job of, was he was turning Michel Rivera every time. I mean, he kept turning him, moving him out the way. He was slipping his punches. Anytime that Michel Rivera would throw a punch, he would either move out of the, he was blocking it, or he was moving out of the way. He was slipping. He was, moving out of the way of the punches that Michel Rivera was throwing. So it was a wonderful job that Frank Martin and Derrick James had put together. And like I said, and the major thing that really happened was that speed. Frank Martin's speed, man, really neutralized Michel Rivera's offense. I mean, his speed was just impeccable. His speed, his athleticism, there was nothing Michel Rivera could do. You could clearly see right from basically from like the third round on that Michel Rivera couldn't do nothing with that speed that Frank Martin had. Frank Martin's speed was just unreal. He was just timing him beautifully. Anything that Michel Rivera would throw, Frank Martin did a wonderful job of countering it. And like I said, he would throw combinations on top of it. And his speed was just, like I said, it was just too much for Michel Rivera. And you can tell that it was just like overwhelming him. And it was like, he was like, oh, shoot, there ain't nothing I can do. You know what I'm saying? And he didn't have the speed to match Frank Martin. So it was a wonderful job of Frank Martin, man, and Coach Derrick James, man, a brilliant game plan that they had put together. Coach James was just telling them, like I said, don't just be stationary, move, making sure that he, make sure he goes down to the body. You could hear him in the background, telling them instructions and stuff, telling them not to force anything. That was the main thing he was telling them, like, don't force it, don't force it. Don't just be throwing shots because you don't want to get caught with a shot because Michel Rivera is still dangerous. So he was just telling them, don't force it, don't try to force your way in, using his jab. Sometimes he would double up the jab on Michel Rivera. So he was doing a wonderful job, man. It was a brilliant performance by Frank Martin. Obviously, he showed that he's ready for anybody at 135 pounds. Going into the fight, like, I had the fight 50-50. I really thought this fight was a dangerous fight for both guys, But Frank Martin showed that, look, this is nothing. I can do this, And, he basically called everybody out. He called out Tank. He called out Rolly. Anybody that's at the 135 pounds. Devin Haney called him out as well. So he called everybody out. Do I think he's ready? He seems to be ready. I think he's ready, This was a good performance by Frank Martin. Congratulations to him again on a brilliant performance. He did a wonderful job, man. He boxed beautifully. He looked good, His speed was just, man, like I said, it just overwhelmed Michel Rivera. There was nothing Michel Rivera could do. He had trouble all night long. And then with the knockdown that Frank Martin had, that was pretty much the icing on the cake for Frank Martin in the fight. So it was a good fight. And, yeah, I think Frank Martin could fight anybody at 135 pounds at this point right now. Anybody at 135 pounds, I think he could. It's gonna be a fight, So congratulations again to Frank Martin. It was a wonderful victory, great victory, man. It was beautiful to see, because I wanted him to win, and he won. What does Michel Rivera do? I don't know. He probably gets another tune-up fight, couple of tune-up fights. And then maybe he might, he'll probably get up there and start fighting guys at the top 135. But there's things that they're going to have to work on as far as, like, his adjustments. If things don't work out as far as with the jab and stuff, he's going to have to start learning to do different things besides just trying to box, because it just didn't work out in his favor in this fight against Frank Martin. Like I said, Frank Martin's speed, his athleticism was just way too much for Michel Rivera. And, so maybe he might, Michel Rivera could get a couple of tune-up fights and maybe get back at it again, try again. But the sky's the limit now for Frank Martin, now that he's got this victory, because now this victory should show that, he's ready. This victory shows that, he's got skills, that he's got it all. He's got power, he got skills, he's got speed, athleticism, he's the real deal. And Errol Spence did a good job by getting Frank Martin, man, because he definitely is the real deal. It was a beautiful thing to see. Like I said, the way that he was turning Michel Rivera, he was so quick, he was fast, he was agile. I mean, he was just moving on Michel Rivera, and there was nothing that Michel Rivera could do. He was going to the body as well, which that was impressive as well. Going to the body on Michel Rivera, he kept doing it all throughout the fight. He never let up on going to the body against Michel Rivera. He never let up. He kept on going. Like I said, he was hitting them with beautiful combinations. So yeah, this was a good fight, man. I was very excited about this fight. I had this fight 50-50. I thought this was a dangerous fight for both guys, because it could have went either way. You know, that was the only thing that was worrying me about that fight was the reach. But like I said, Frank Martin did a wonderful job of neutralizing Michel Rivera's reach, and he did a wonderful job. So congratulations again to Frank Martin. Congratulations to Coach James and everybody, Errol Spence, everybody that's over there. A beautiful victory. So I can't wait to see what Frank Martin's going to do next and who he's going to fight next. I can't wait to see it. But that's my take on that whole situation. It was a good fight to watch. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, tell me what you guys thought about the fight. Let me know what you guys thought about what do you think should Frank Martin should fight next? I mean, if it would be a good fight if he fights Rolly next. I mean, that would be a good fight. I think he clearly is going to smoke Rolly, and I don't think Rolly wants any problems with Frank Martin. I don't think he does. I think that even after his fight, Frank Martin had fought Jackson Marina his last fight before this fight. He called out Rolly, but Rolly's team didn't want no smoke with him. So I still don't think he wants smoke with Frank Martin. I don't think that's going to happen. But I'm interested to see who wants to smoke with Frank Martin. Let's see what happens. So like the video, subscribe to the channel, comment down below, tell me what you guys think. Again, shout out to the whole entire LDBC. Much love and much appreciation to y'all. And salute to everybody. Peace.